The Dutch Grand Prix was a banger. We had red flags, drivers being stupid, rain, safety cars, virtual safety cars, everything you could wish for in a Grand Prix weekend. But before we even made it to the Max Verstappen Grand Prix, Max Verstappen was in a little bit of controversy. A video emerged on social media of Max Verstappen speeding in Monaco, and people are absolutely furious. But Max Verstappen, that's not very responsible. But Max Verstappen, you're endangering people. But Max Verstappen, the FIA said we have to be safer on the roads. Well, the FIA are always right, aren't they? I can't be asked to do the maths into miles per hour, but he's going 34 kilometres over the speed limit. And if you actually watch the video, he's keeping pace with the traffic. And also, he's driving a supercar around Monaco. You're not going to be driving like Perfect Peter unless you're boring like the current FIA. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for putting Max Verstappen in jail, but can we please make it more exciting? Like, he robbed a bank, or he stabbed an elderly woman crossing the road, or he stole someone's wife and kid. Oh, wait. But nevertheless, at Max Verstappen's home Grand Prix, in the pissing down rain, with a red flag, with a safety car, with virtual safety cars, with drivers going off left, right and centre, he won the Grand Prix, equalising Sebastian Vettel's record of 9 consecutive wins in a row.
Mum! Yeah?
9 Formula 1 wins.
Who gives a shit?
You know what I give a shit about? I give a shit about Netherlands declaring war on Australia. Because in FP2, coming into turn 3, the I fucking give up. Oscar Piastri spun into the wall at turn 3, followed by Daniel Ricciardo going straight on into the wall at turn 3. 2 Aussies out in one corner. Coincidence? I think not. But it doesn't end there, because Daniel Ricciardo was sent to hospital and has a broken wrist, which could potentially put him out for 6 weeks, meaning he'd miss the next 4 races, which would mean he'd only had 5 races left to prove himself for the Red Bull seat, which means Liam Lawson now has this race and 4 more to prove himself for the Red Bull or AlphaTauri seat next year. Nick de Vries also offered to race for the next 4 races until Daniel gets back, and I actually obtained the footage for AlphaTauri's reaction to this offer.
Voy a la playa, había subido la marea. Había subido la marea con su paella. Y la encontré.
Similar to the Australians invading turn 3 at the Dutch Grand Prix, we have invaded a country. As you can see, I'm not in my usual location. I am in Ireland. But getting back to the F1, and in qualifying we had Carlos Sainz being a melon, Logan Sargent being the GOAT, Logan Sargent being a melon, Charles Leclerc being Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton being Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen being Max Verstappen. But what I found funny was during the week Mercedes tweeted this. It's just the Mercedes Twitter admin getting a little bit excited and chatting a bit of shit, like he did in Bahrain 2022, when Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez both crashed out, tweeting, "You love to see it." You know what I love to see? I love to see Lewis Hamilton qualifying P13. Imagine Lewis Hamilton qualifying P13. A very big shout out to Alex Albon, who absolutely slapped it in qualifying, taking P4 in his Williams, and Williams are officially fast, having both their cars getting into Q3, even Captain America. Fast forward to the race on Sunday, and on the first lap the heavens opened, and this is where I have to issue an apology to Zhou Guanyu, Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez, because in my Formula 1 mid-season rankings video, I said some very reasonable things about these 3 drivers. Next we have Zhou Guanyu, and I've given him a 5 out of 10, and yeah, moving on. Sergio Perez gets a 5 out of 10. He was even considered as a title contender up until like Miami, and now he bursts into celebration by singing Feliz Navidad whenever he makes it through into Q3. The next driver is Pierre Gasly, and he gets a 6 out of 10, and also the award for middest driver on the grid, which will be his first and last trophy of the year, and also a -1 deduction for being French.
And Pierre Gasly, ahead of Sergio Perez, is back on the podium for the first time since Baku 2021.
And they took that personally because on the first lap they all pitted in and by lap 4 were 1, 2 and 3. So now Sergio Perez leads in the other Red Bull instead of Max Verstappen in front of Max Verstappen's home fans. It would be monumental if Sergio Perez beat Max Verstappen at the Dutch Grand Prix. Max Verstappen took the lead on lap 13. But during the first pit stop kerfuffle, Charles Leclerc was called in by Ferrari for his pit stop onto the Inters. But as Charles Leclerc peeled into the pit box, the front jack man was there, the rear jack man was there, the wheel gun men were there, and they all had a very Ferrari can-do attitude. But a can-do attitude isn't going to put the fucking wheels on the car, because the wheels weren't there. But the worst part was Charles Leclerc had front wing damage because he's Charles Leclerc. But when he came into the pits, they didn't even change the front wing while they wasted all that time with no tyres. But I did some digging and I found some live footage of the Ferrari garage while Charles Leclerc was sitting in the pit lane waiting for his tyres.
If Johnny has 3 apples and his friend gave him 2 more apples, how many apples does he have altogether?
Is it 46?
What the fuck is 46? You not listening to what I'm saying, you not paying attention.
Baby, I teach you. You can't beat the answer into the kid. Listen, son, the answer is 5. So if Johnny got 2 apples and his friend gave him 3 apples, how many apples did he get?
12.
Maybe you didn't hear me. I said the answer is 5. So if Johnny got 2 apples and his friend gave him 3 apples, how many apples did he get?
They also disguised as Red Bull mechanics with Sergio Perez's pit stop later in the race.
What the fuck? This is what you get with this fucking shit show. What the fuck is this dickhead doing?
Another team that imploded at the Dutch Grand Prix was McLaren, who started on the front row and on the 4th row and finished P7 and P9.
What the fuck are you doing?
But George Russell imploded even more than McLaren because he started 3rd and finished 18th.
What the fuck are you...
And a quick race shout out to Lewis Hamilton. Remember him from earlier who qualified P13? Well, he actually managed to finish P6 in this race.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Let's go!
In conclusion, Ferrari can't count. Max Verstappen is killing elderly women in Monaco. Pierre Gasly slaps. Alex Albon slaps. The FIA are boring. And Netherlands are commencing war on Australia.